To anyone who thinks I need pants for this, my response is you're nuts. So we are back with the hand cannons, and I actually came across an idea back on the 4th, and that was the process of making bullets. Hence the title, Guns, Bullets, and Theory Time. Theoretically, I went off of a couple of ideas I had, and with the process of making the bullets, you'll see that I had several different ideas that I'm shooting from the hip with, just to see how they could work out and how effective these ideas could be, as well as going back to old ideas I had of whether or not I was able to make it actually work, such as with the drop shot. So we're gonna get into the process of making the bullets and come right back for the testing side of things. Alrighty, so I know I'm not in kit, but today is stupid hot right now. And we are also in my region going through a fire ban. So as much as I'd like to be as historically accurate or close to theoretical history on how this was done, I can't really do it. So I'm gonna be here in my workshop. We're gonna be using a blowtorch and a little crucible for melting lead. The different methods we're gonna use for just the theoretical tests I'm wanting to try for the different types of molds I have a 65 cal or 60 cal ball mold, and we're gonna be doing that for most of our balls. I have a double 50 cal ball mold. We're gonna do that to kind of restock some of my 50 cal ball that I've been shooting up with my other guns and, for example, other hand cannon like the 53 cal. We got a 45 cal ball mold, and the reason for this one is I am wanting to actually redo the multi-shot video. I got some ideas as to why it may have not worked out as well as I had hoped. And one idea is maybe the method in which I had placed the powder. I think what may have gone wrong in the first time I did it was the other drop shot videos I did, the material was too light. So I'm gonna be trying a method that, as far as I know at this point, because I can't really find any actual written documentation of it, it might be fictional completely. I'm gonna give it a try. I mean, what's the harm? Most of this channel is about medieval theory versus medieval fact, theorizing how it could have worked, or if it could have worked, or how would someone have gone about this. Only downside with all of this, I don't actually yet know, and if you know of any resources I could use to find it, where I can find the true method of how to actually cast balls in a medieval period method, because using the ball molds, this is more of a 17th century, 16th century method to be doing so. It's not likely the same way it would have been done historically. If I can find the way historically, we'll do so. So we're gonna get at it, gonna get this torch started up and heating on the crucible. So what we're basically doing is walking the flame around the base of the crucible, kind of in a circular motion to try to spread the heat around to a little more quickly melt the lead, so it's not all focused in one area. This also helps keep your crucible from warping. Okay, the lead is starting to melt. I mean, this does happen pretty quickly, so it won't take long to get it all done. Got a nice little sheeny liquid form in there. A little bit of scale on the top, but I don't think I'll be able to melt that. So now we carefully pour in the ball mold. We're also going to try essentially actually using a fishing weight mold. And the reason for that is just see how a odd shaped object will perform versus the perfectly round. Can we make this actually do damage, or would it just be a novelty idea to be crafting this one? Lead cools pretty quick, so by the time I get the last one, these first two will be already done. And honestly, at this very moment, they're probably done now. Okay. Last two, or last one, and then we'll try the theoretical drop shot idea I've been working on. All right, so in the secondary camera, you'll see how each of these look as we go about the process here. Because the lead has such a low melting point, it's not going to feel that warm. So the way this mold works, this will cut off the excess lead. That can be recycled back into the pot, and you open it up. There's our first ball. This is the fishing weight one. Extremely easy. I mean, this thing will even put in the loop. We'll be cutting those off though for the theoretical test of these. And we actually might be able to try something with that. See how it goes. If I can find some steel fishing line, I actually might be able to try tying a couple of these together to make a form of rudimentary chain shot and see how it would work for something this size. Hopefully this method works out. I've never done this before. As I said before, this might be more of a fictional thing than an actual thing. But nonetheless, we're gonna give it a try. Most of this channel, the whole purpose as to why I wanted to start it was just theorizing about stuff rather than only doing what has been historically proven. Through theory, you can prove things as well as disprove things. So smaller pieces of lead looks like they're starting to melt. A nice pool started. Okay, looks like everything's melted. All right, now we're gonna attempt to do our pour. All right, so either our lead is already cooled or our hole's too small. Oop. Yeah, don't want to do that. It's not going to burn the wood. It's not nearly hot enough for that, but this wood is kind of oily, so it will cause some issue. Here we go, hot pan. So, what's interesting here is it looks like the lead actually bloomed out. I'll get a pair of pliers, grab some out. It's almost like it's like a Scotch-Brite brush almost. So that's really soft, and likely you can't shoot that, so this idea might be a bust. Unless I can figure out a different method to do what I'm trying to think. I can see there's some solid pieces in there, so I might be able to sort this out. So we'll get back to that, and if I can figure it out, we will pick this back up. Until then, these will be our different types of shot we try. These two will be with the 65 cal, and these three, I'm gonna give another try to the multi-shot video by using 45 cal balls. And we'll see. So we're going to test those here next, unless I can get the drop shot idea to work. So with all the bullets made and out of the way, we went through the process of that, had a couple of unique molds from 45 caliber, 60 caliber, and even a lead fishing weight mold for just making an oddball shape of a bullet. Those ones are going to be the first ones we test, and our target, of course, is the classic medieval globos from Lord of the Battles, along with a gambeson underneath. This is the arming doublet version, where it's lace up all the way from the bottom to the top, and it is semi-thick, so it will be a decent analog for this test as a gambeson, or in this case, an arming doublet. A disclaimer on the globos: it has yet to be repaired from the last time I was testing with it, go figure. However, it is still in shape of being able to actually test to see how well it's able to handle a shot getting blasted at it. So we're gonna get into that now, get this loaded up, and go from there. We are gonna be loading these with 90 grains of powder, and use the fishing weights first. We're gonna take a couple of shots with those, go to the 45 for multi-shot, and maybe even the self-cast 60 caliber rounds. Those ones are actually surprisingly not as perfect as they could be. I am unsure exactly what happened in the process of casting, but some of them ended up with a little bit of a wavy look to them, as well as a little oblong, a little oddly shaped, things like that. I'm not sure what caused that process. However, it actually adds for a uniqueness to the 60 caliber ball for the 65 caliber hand cannon. And because of that, it might be a little more accurate to how the ammo of the time was for firing. If I can get my wadding out, we'll be able to get this finished loading. That weight actually fits a little bit tight in the barrel, so that could be interesting. As always, I place my wadding in last so that I can keep the bullet held in place. We got that packed. So before I fire something else, I was actually finally able to get my hands on some punks during the 4th. And the reason why I even bothered with getting these is these are a little bit more similar to how these would have been set off for the firing mechanism. So far I've been using lighters, and the only reason I've been doing that is I haven't had my hands on much else. I didn't have much luck with making match cord, and these make for a better analog than the lighters on this. So this is what we're going to be touching them off with today. Dead center, right in the chest. So I guess we can both agree after that there's not any coming back for this armor. That is, wow, it's bigger than a 65 cal hole. Completely blew out the back. Took a little bit of chunk out of the wood there. Come on, focus. I wouldn't have expected it from the lead fishing weight, especially to fly that straight. I mean, that's exactly where I was aiming with this thing. Over time, I've gotten better with my shooting, but I didn't think I was that good yet. So we're gonna reload another one of those lead fishing weights and see if we can repeat that. Maybe try to get a little lower this time if I can do that again. So reload it again. Same song and dance as last time. Gonna try to repeat that, try to get a little bit lower. That looked like a ricochet. So we had a heavy ricochet right up here, and that was the same powder package we had, along with, wow, same type of bullet. And unlike last time, it was a ricochet. The armor held up that time, so likely the reason this one went through is because it was flatter on the face. This one hit at more of an angle. It's a little hard to see, but there is a little bit of dishing and angle there. And sloping armors, angles, and all of that, that does help a lot when it comes to protection. Oh. There that goes. So we are actually gonna change gears now and go into just directly testing against the Gambison. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna load up the 50 cal hand cannon, 53 cal hand cannon with the homemade drop shot I made and see how that works. So a couple of things with the 53 caliber hand cannon is I gotta be a little closer with this one. I think that's where I was going wrong last time when trying it. And I'm gonna also be holding it down in a lower position when firing. Whole reason for that is, honestly, if I was using a scatter shot of any kind, similar to how a 12 gauge shotgun would work with bird shot, the closer you are, the more volatile it gets. This is all lead shot from before that I loaded up in here. We'll see how well it does. For grain count, we use 55 grain. This is gonna burn a lot quicker, so. We are now gonna go and give a try to the multi-shot. Same distance as we did with the 53, but this will be the 65 cal cannon again. And we're gonna see how well that works for this shot. So we don't need to be as close as we were with the 53 caliber hand cannon. And unlike last time, I'm a little bit closer, so I don't think the shot will just bounce off of the gambeson like it did last time. I'm not gonna set up the breastplate on it this time, mainly because of how close at proximity I am. Even if I was armored myself, the idea of a ricochet still scares me, so that's not something I wanna even risk at the moment. If I find a better way of doing that kind of analog close up for against armor, we will, but for now, we're gonna be doing it in this method. 90 grains and 4 45 caliber balls. These are a surprisingly fair amount smaller than the 50 cal we were doing before. So the slow-mo cam, I just found out it's been overheating, so sadly I missed a couple of shots. We're gonna retake them. I adjusted the camera to where it's in the shade. Hopefully now it's able to record without interruption. We got the multi-shot for the 4 45 caliber balls reloaded along with 90 grains of powder. We're gonna give it another try, hopefully be able to do some damage on the gambeson. Afterwards, we're actually gonna do also a 45 cal ball on the armor from the 53 caliber hand cannon to see what kind of difference that makes by comparison from how it usually was shooting the 50 cal. I just wanted to see if reloading it up at similar rate, if it's gonna just dent the armor or if it'll actually cause puncture. So we're gonna take a shot now with the 4 45 caliber balls. So I did a 180 with the arming doublet so that we might be able to better see what kind of damage the drop shot can do when firing into it. I'm gonna do my best to try to keep the shot low from going high so that we can try to get it down in the gut region and see what kind of damage it'll do there, whether or not it'll penetrate, if it'll come out the other side. Hopefully we can get a decent analog out of this. Alrighty, so we got loaded up the 45 cal ball, 53 caliber hand cannon, and 60 grains of powder. We'll see how it affects the globos. I'm gonna keep trying to aim for the gut and keep for this one, aiming in a low position. Pretty sure I missed. And downside is I'm out of fuses for this one. So this hand cannon, unlike the 65 caliber, has a much smaller touch hole. Come on, focus. The touch hole is maybe a 1/16 of an inch diameter, and the cannon fuse I've been using for the 65 cal does not fit in this one. And I can't make this touch hole bigger because if I did, then a new problem arises where I have too much blowout coming out the rear end. So I lose a lot more pressure that way. Because when I made the hand cannon for the 65 caliber bigger, I ended up with the same problem. So we're gonna have to now put this one on the back burner. Sadly, that test is null. Not sure how I missed both times, but it did miss. Likely it's because of the smaller diameter bullet for a larger diameter barrel caused a larger spiral and it ended up just completely going off to one side of the target, depending on how it was loaded with the powder package. So we're gonna load up with the fresh 65 caliber balls I made, try to find one that's as deformed as possible. Some of them were, compared to the ones I've been using so far that were brand new. I was the one who casted those were store-bought. So we're gonna actually see, just for the fun of it, what 90 grains of powder and a 60 caliber ball is gonna do. As I've been trying to do, I'm gonna keep the shot low, try for a gut shot. And for this, we can obviously move the camera quite a ways back. So we have a deformed lead shot here. One side of it, if it focuses, One side of it didn't fully fill in the mold. Likely what happened is the fill hole got plugged off by the drying lead before it could fully fill the mold, so that portion of it did not fully fill. We're gonna give this one, a couple of these a try and just see what kind of shot we get on the armor, if it's gonna fly wild or if it flies semi-straight. Surprisingly, that's a little tight in the barrel. As always, wadding. As I believe I've explained before, the reason I put the wadding in last is I've had several times where the bullets just roll right out of the barrel. Even when I try to wrap the wadding, it tears it up in there quite a bit when filling it. And I use the blue shop towels because it's cheap, inexpensive, and fairly effective for wadding. Okay, we're gonna give this shot a try. Looks like we had a miss. Time to try again. So oddly enough, the 60 caliber balls I cast, they don't fit in the hand cannon. And looking at them, I think I know why. So between these two, the dull gray versus the chrome looking one, this one is one that I bought online from a muzzle loading supply company. This one is one I just cast, and you notice all those little waves in it. That's from the layering of the lead as it was poured, whereas this one doesn't have it. And my guess is what that did is cause more expansion on this ball, whereas since this one doesn't have it, it's a nice smooth round. What happened is this one expanded more, ended up being bigger than this one ever so slightly. I can't quite get these ones in the barrel, which is interesting, and I'll have to learn how to fix that. But we'll load up one of the regular 60 caliber balls that I've been shooting, the dull gray, and do another shot on the armor as a comparator of trying to get a 60 caliber shot versus what that fishing weight did. Surprisingly, that fishing weight, both those shots are the most accurate shots I've made so far. So we'll see how this goes when we take our next shot using the dull gray. And we're gonna do one more fishing lure shot just to see whether or not that does make much difference. So this one honestly is a great analog for the power of the hand cannon, because being a side shot like that, you can see where the lead scraped and tore its way into the steel. That folded all the way back. Wow. And that's also hitting on the side where it'd have the least amount of purchase for the round to hit. So hit right about here on the side. Instead of just rolling off or scraping off, it actually dug in with enough power to actually dent it. So we're gonna try another shot with the lead fishing weight and see what that does. Followed up with firing those little mushrooms that were the leftover lead on top of our molds when we were casting the bullets. So instead of just repeating exactly what we did at the beginning with the fishing lure shot or the fishing lead shot, whatever, we'll keep calling it the lure shot, I actually flipped it over to be opposite of how you'd expect a bullet to fly. Now, it's not a matter of thinking that I know better or whatever else. It's literally just so that we're not repeating the same process from before. So instead of being the narrow end facing up and the broad end on the bottom, I basically just flipped the lure over. That is it. Nothing too special about the process I did here. Is just to get a different analog for how it fires compared to that first one. So we're gonna get ready to shoot. I'm gonna hit play on the slow-mo cam and we're gonna give another try, see what happens. Took a big bite right out of the throat. That entire piece for the neck protection is gone. A big chunk went through right there. Let's see. Shredded. Ooh. I think it's a piece of wood. So likely that piece that got bit out is in the cross arm up high. Alrighty, so we're gonna actually now cut off the globos. And oh wait, there it is. Folded it over and in. Regardless, that would slice your neck open. Ouch. So we are going to take our final shot, which is using the little mushrooms that we had for the molds that we had been cutting off, and just see out of the 65 caliber hand cannon what kind of damage it's going to do to the arming doublet. So I upped grain to count to 100 grain, and a fair amount of those little mushrooms were packed in, about half of what I had. We're gonna have to also get a little bit closer, as we saw with the 53 caliber hand cannon and what kind of damage it did. And won't be too much of a difference for what you see. The slow-mo cam is still working, so luckily we got that still. So we're gonna get into that and just see if we can shred this gambeson. That's pretty much all this is gonna be. So most of it all went high. Got mixed up with the 45 caliber ball shot. I can see a few that went low. Along here. Couple up high. But one thing that tells me it did hit with a little bit more power than I would have expected is there are two little dents that came from, and that actually might be from the drop shot, but these little dents here came from ripping through the gambeson. This is another point it came through there. Some of that is likely from other shots. Let's see. Oh man. So this is what's left of shooting stand. It's on its last legs. Alrighty, so that was guns, bullets, and theory time. Hopefully you might have seen something that was interesting in some of these shot tests I was doing, and maybe with just the results we had from the damage on the globos, you might be able to figure out some of your own theories to try. If you have any recommendations for any type of bullet shot I should give a try to, let me know down in the comments. I love the hand cannons. It's what I really started this channel for, and I just want to keep doing stuff with them. So if you got any ideas, theories of your own, or suggestions for different tests, we'll try to make it happen. Until then, take care, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.